you play Michael Hayes in the movie.
That's correct.
Legendary for his wrestling work, still very much involved in the creative process today.
Absolutely.
With WWE. So my first question for you is: did you have to learn Bad Street USA in order to play?
So it's funny. I've always been a huge fan of professional wrestling, which obviously was what I made a career out of. But coming up through, like my childhood, my dad actually was an independent wrestler when I was coming up. So
Okay.
I learned the history of wrestling early on. So I knew everything about, the Fabulous Freebirds and, everything they did and all that kind of stuff. So no, like it was really surreal being able to play someone like Michael P.S. Hayes, knowing how much history the Von Erichs and the Freebirds shared back at the WCCW days at the auditorium or sportatorium, I should say. But yeah, it was just unreal, man. Like I still have to pinch myself. And you were talking about like you haven't seen it yet. I've seen it 3 times
Of course, yeah,
already.
yeah.
Yeah, so like it's one of those cool things. We got to go out to Dallas for the premiere and saw it there for the first time, and then lucky enough, we were able to make it home for the holidays, and I got to see it with my family, and then we saw it with my girlfriend's family as well. So uh, it's a really great story, and unfortunate
Yes.
events happen with that family, and I think the movie does a great job at telling the story, and it's a man, I'm telling you, the ending of that movie, it'll bring you to tears. So
Oh,
very heartfelt.
I'm sure it's
I'm
well.
excited.
I mean, just knowing, me knowing how it actually ends,
Right, exactly. Like
yeah.
as wrestling fans, we know the story, but I'm telling you, still can't be prepared for it. When you
Oh,
actually see it, acted out, and I know we're going to probably talk about it later, but you have guys like Zach Efron, Jeremy Allen White, Harris Dickinson. They're phenomenal actors, and for them to like portray that story and the emotions that they pulled from it, and it was phenomenal getting to watch them, become the Von Erichs. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That's very cool. I'm really excited about it. I'm really looking forward to it. And I gotta say, have you ever had a chance to meet Michael Hayes?
I have. So I used to
Okay.
do work with WWE back in the day, and in passing,
Yeah.
I've spoken with him here and there, but like as far as like sitting down and talk with him, no, I haven't actually had a chance to do that. But I may actually get the chance to do that at the end of January coming up. So I'm
Wonderful,
actually looking
wonderful.
forward for that.
Oh, good. I'm sure he'll
Yeah.
have notes for you as far as you're
Oh yeah, I'm
concerned.
sure. I'm really eager to see what he has to say about it. But no, I think everything will be good, and I've gotten really good reviews and good feedback from people who have seen the movie, and of course Chavo and Luke Hawks was a part of the coordinating of the movie, and they signed off on it right away when we did the things. And one of the cool things about our referee that was in the match that we had while we were filming, he was the actual referee back in the day when you had the real Von Erichs versus the real Freebirds. So we were lucky enough to have his name is James Beard. He's from Texas as well. And so we were lucky enough to have him there to officiate the movie match. But again, at the end of the day, after we are done filming, he comes up to us and is just like, guys, this is literally bringing me back to the real, sportatorium days when the shoot was, at its hottest. To get that sign off for someone who actually was there and saw it actually in real time,
Yeah, and
for
was
him to
involved.
sign off,
Yeah.
exactly, for him to sign off of it, it was kind of all I needed to hear. Yeah. So.
I mean, not only that, but to know that who you're very familiar with, the actual, source material, to know that, it seems like this film is entertaining in its own right, but in addition, not really embellishing anything. I
Right.
think that that's a big issue with a lot of films, which I can see why that, someone would try to make something, I guess, more, larger than life for the film. But it sounds like this story is already larger than life.
Exactly. You hit it right on the head. Like, you really can't make this story up. Unfortunately, it's a true story that, like, it was meant for a movie, and thankfully we got the opportunity to make the film, and yeah, I just nothing but. I mean, obviously, I know I'm biased, but nothing but great things for me to say about it from top to bottom.
And what's great about that is it speaks volumes about Wildcat Sports and Entertainment, because they really are like the wrestling component of the movie. I mean, in a
Oh,
lot of
absolutely.
ways.
Yeah, there's so many of the Wildcat guys who are also in the movie at various points of the movie. So,
Right.
yeah, and Luke Hawks, the owner of Wildcat, is a huge instrumental part of the movie, helping coordinate things. And I don't know if I'm jumping ahead of this or whatever, but
Nah, go for
Luke
it, man.
is
You're the guest.
yeah. So Luke is actually how I got the opportunity to portray Michael P.S. Hayes. And the story of that goes, I originally auditioned for the role of Ric Flair.
Okay.
So like auditioned for the role of Ric Flair, sent it in. Probably 2 or 3 weeks goes by, heard absolutely nothing. In the film world, when you do an audition, you send it in. If you don't hear anything, you're probably not going to hear anything at all.
Yeah.
So 2 or 3 weeks goes by, and I remember I was on vacation at the time, and then Luke texts me, and he goes, "Hey, might have an opportunity for you. I need you to film, this little skit here, send it in, and then that." And it was the role of Michael Hayes. And so anyway, got the sent in to Luke. He put it into production. Still 2 or 3 weeks pass by, don't hear anything. And then by that time, I'm just like, okay, well, it's not going to happen. And I remember I was sitting down one day and I get a call from Luke, which Luke calls me all the time. So I didn't really think nothing of it. I answered him the phone. He goes, "Hey, they're going to cast you as Michael P.S. Hayes." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great. That's freaking awesome." I'm ecstatic. He goes, and I asked him, I'm like, "When do I start?" And he's like, "Well, they actually need you in Baton Rouge tomorrow." I was like, "Okay."
You got it.
Let me get down there.
No way.
Did you work on Heels? Is that right?
I did. So
Okay.
I doubled Alexander Ludwig as Ace Spade on Heels.
Okay.
Yeah, for both seasons.
Yeah. So Heels, did y'all see Heels, Moonbeam, Brandon?
I did not know.
It was a wrestling show on
Is that a-
Stars, which Wildcat was a very big part of it. Stephen Amell was
Oh,
the
okay.
lead.
And then
in that show.
then the guy I doubled was Alexander Ludwig, which was the lead of Vikings, the series Vikings from I think it was the
Yep.
History Channel.
Okay.
Yep. So actually since Heels, I've done a lot of doubling work with Alexander. One of the films that's coming up next year, the new Bad Boys movie, I was able to double him on that as well. So I'm excited to see that.
You're like on call now for
Wait,
Exactly. Yeah. No.
You said that there was going to be a new Bad Boys movie?
Yeah.
There is next summer.
You're talking about
Whoa,
Will
wait,
Smith
wait,
and Martin
we're
Lawrence?
dropping
That's
his
it.
own
Which
show.
one?
And it's a funny story because I sent Luke Hawks a friend request probably 6 years prior to him actually accepting my friend request. Because like we actually met, yeah. So we actually meet on Heels, and I tell him, whatever we're working or whatever, and then he finally accepts my friend request, and I'm like, I sent that to you for like 6 years ago, right? He was like, "Oh yeah." So it's funny because like I'd known of Luke, and then we actually had the chance to work together, and we hit it off really good.